Hey peeps, how you doing? Welcome back to my channel. And today is going to be just another coffee chat, so to speak. Hopefully the audio will be better than last time. My voice is not too bad today. So let's get on with it. Latte today was vanilla caramel. Almost done with it. Triple shot. Almond milk. Not much more to say about that. Sugar-free. The funny thing is, I detest the taste of coffee. I really do. I love the taste of it when it's mixed into a latte. It adds a certain, not bitterness, but sort of a tang to it. So I'm not sure what that whole thing is about, but you'll never catch me drinking coffee or espresso straight unless there's no other choice. Today is going to be hopefully a bit of a shorter video. I see Ellie is over snoozing in the kitty condo. And I think Kiersey's down there playing around with something. And Apple appears to be over there. I got to thinking, and I don't think I ever talked a lot about, other than me wanting to be a writer from the time I was 3, I don't think I talked a lot about my writing when I was a kid. So I thought maybe I'd tell you a little bit about that today. So as I said, I've wanted to be a writer since I was 3. I remember there was a certain point, and I don't know how I learned this, but I do remember it. I remember comprehending that people actually made the books that I was learning to read. When I realized that people made the books, they didn't magically appear. I remember telling my mom, I want to grow up and make books. And that was the main dream I had all through my childhood. I mean, I had other interests on the side. I thought about being a volcanologist, and I thought about being a paleontologist because I am and was a dinosaur freak. You don't know how excited I was when I saw Jurassic Park. It was so incredible. And I wanted to be leader of a motorcycle gang. That never happened, although I have ridden on motorcycles before. And I wanted to be an exotic dancer. And we'll leave that right there. So, yes, I wanted to be a writer from the time I was 3. And I made up short stories till I could learn to write, to print. I remember my very first short story. And I made this up and I told it to my mom over and over again. Bless her for listening to me, because I'm sure as an adult it got really tiring to hear this. But my first short story, and I remember this one, I told her was about a group of curtains. Yes, a group of curtains. They were in a shop waiting to be sold. And there were red ones, and there were green ones, and there were blue ones, and there were yellow ones. Well, the yellow curtains got sold, and the green curtains felt very jealous. And then the blue curtains got sold, and the green curtains were very upset. I think I had just learned the word envy at that point, because the green curtains were green with envy. And then the blue curtains got sold, or the yellow ones, they all got sold except the green ones. And the green curtains were so upset, and they were sure they would never get sold. And they were positive that they were going to be in that shop forever. And then one day somebody came in and they saw the green curtains and they were like, I love green curtains. And they bought the green curtains. And so the green curtains rejoiced and they went to their new home and they were so happy. And that was it. Apparently, I don't know if we had just gotten them, but we had new green drapes, and maybe that just spurred something on in my mind. But yeah, the green curtain story. Then when I was about 6 or 7, I had a best friend named Renee. Now, honestly, she was one of my first betrayals in terms of friendships too, in terms of being betrayed. But at the time, we were best buddies. We hung out all the time. And her sister hung out with us, and her other sister, and uh, they had a lot of kids in that family, but they moved, so they were just like up the alley from us. And I was so happy because we just kept running up and down, to each other's yards and hung out. And I don't know what her mom thought of me, but my mom liked Renee and her sisters. And so Renee was a paper girl. She had an after school job. She could run, take papers around and deliver them. And I remember being envious of her, but my mom would not let me get a job like that. Anyway, so Renee had a paper out. And when she got the papers, they would come in a big stack, big bundle. And when she would untie the papers, there would be blank newspaper pages covering them up. So she always kept those, and we used those to make our own newspaper. We would write stories and even the ads for it and the headlines. And so we spent a lot of time making our own newspapers. Never did anything with them, but we had fun making them. I also remember that I used to play a game. My favorite game was I was a writer who got sent back in time to the time of dinosaurs, combining two of my loves, you see. So I would get sent back and I would have to hunt dinosaurs. So I found a Tyrannosaurus Rex who was my pet, and I would climb on his back and we would go hunting for other dinosaurs because, of course, we had to eat. I made my friends play this game with me. What can I say? I'm a leader, and they kind of did what I said most of the time. So we would go back in time to the time of the dinosaurs. I was supposed to write a book about it, and they were doing other things, but we had to hunt down dinosaurs for our dinner. So we had brontosaurus steaks. And uh, my favorite dinosaur was the Pachycephalosaurus. I'm not sure if that's exactly how you pronounce it, but I loved that dinosaur. It had 10 inches of bone on its head. And there was something about it that I just loved. In fact, there is a book that I hunted for years. And I finally found it again, a children's book written by Richard Armour, I think. And it was basically one long poem about the different types of dinosaurs. And all I remembered about the book were the first two stanzas, I think. Actually, I think they were separated by other stanzas, but I remembered two stanzas out of it. 100 million years ago, in now what is Wyoming, through Mesozoic jungle swamps, the dinosaurs were roaming. Some walked upon all fours, as you'd expect of such a beast. Others walked two-legged like a man. There, all resemblance ceased. I may be a little off with a few of those words, but I typed those in to Google when we finally got the internet. And it took about 5 years, but I finally found the book. And it's, one second, please. Introducing Kiersey. So the book is called A Dozen Dinosaurs by Richard Armour. And when I finally saw the cover, someone had finally put a mention of it on the net. I hunted that book down, and now I own it. And I still now and then grab it out and read through it. It was one of my very favorite books as a child. Because again, it melded two of my loves, writing, books, and dinosaurs. It's been in me since I was a little kid. I wrote poetry from the time I was about 7 or 8. I tried short stories. I wrote plays because I also love theater. I didn't try a book for a long time, but I wrote a lot of short stories. I wrote science fiction, I wrote fantasy, but I submitted stories from the time I was 13, and I would get the rejection slips, and they would make me proud because it was proof I was trying to get published. It was proof that I was putting effort into it. I valued every one of those rejection slips. Even though I really wanted to be accepted, the rejection slip meant I was working. It meant I was trying to do what I wanted to do. I also remember my first poem that I got published. I was 15 and a college newsletter accepted it and published it. And so, that made me so proud. A lot of you know I started college when I was 15, and I will tell you now, it was my writing and my books, well, my writing and the books I read that kept me alive. A lot of you know I had a very abusive childhood, and it was very difficult. My sisters were all grown by then and gone. And there were a lot of times I sat on the edge of my bed holding a razor blade, holding a bottle of aspirin, thinking it would be so easy. It would be so easy to just make this all go away. But then I would think how much I wanted to publish a book, how much writing and language and stories meant to me. And I would put down the razor blade or the bottle of aspirin because I knew that if I went through with it, I would never be able to have my dream of being a published author. And somewhere inside, I knew, absolutely knew, that I could make it. So writing saved my life. So, if you have a friend or a kid who has a dream and who has problems, encourage that dream because it may be all they have to hold on to. Anyway, I'll tell you more about my journey maybe next time. I hope this has been of interest to you. Weaving Winter comes out shortly. I hope you like it. I hope you love it. And other than that, come over, test out my Patreon. You can join for free if you can't be a paid member and have access to some of my posts there. I am posting mostly on Patreon now rather than my blog or on Facebook. And so, yeah, come join us. Anyway, just a little history about me and my writing and how I started out. So I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.